Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill, and we're doing some more live code. So, I totally got the wrong thing up on the screen here. Forgot to get my screen in order. Okay, let me just close out a couple of tabs here. I don't think we need any of that right now. We'll leave that one open, and here we go. So, and my little daughter's coming in. Go to mommy. Go to mommy. Excuse me just 1 second. Hey, little girl, what's up? Give me a kissy. Okay, now go to mommy. I love you. Whoa. Go on. I keep the door open because it gets hot in here without the AC on. There's no venting in the, this room, which is a garage, which is actually a lot cooler than the room upstairs that did have venting, but it didn't work. But anyway, so I leave the door open and sometimes she walks in. That said, let me get back to where we are at. So last time I did some refactoring. A lot of it was based around kind of finalizing some decisions on how the user claim info was going to be disseminated, or not disseminated, but basically the function signature for how we exchange between the user does some action on the front end, whether it is Google authentication or it's password authentication or it's magic link or forgotten password, whatever it is. And they're all very similar. They have to do with get the user object back and tell us what you want us to know about the user to put in the ID token and the access token. So a lot of it was around that. And then there was just some naming stuff. There's a little bit more naming stuff that I want to change first. That's what I'm going to get to first. And then we'll move on to the browser side, because our lovely browser code is now completely broken because of the changes that were made to the API. Because as part of this, I'm trying to get to the API that I actually want to use, not just the API that I had come up with. And we need to document in the README. So I'm going to try to get those three things done in about the next 2 hours, and that's what we're doing. So if at any point you do decide that this is worthwhile for you, you learned something, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. The subscription links to the couple of different channels I run are down in the doobly-doo. And hit the bell to get notifications when videos come out. I do the live streams every day. So I'm going to go here, and actually one more thing before we get started. I forgot to do the live coding now. Let me just take 1 second to do that. Sorry. Node.js off project part. What are we at? 18 now? API cleanup and browser demo. Cool. I'm just going to post that real quick. Sorry, I should have done that beforehand, but alas, I failed to do it beforehand, so I shall do it now. And then we will go ahead and get started. Okay. Or continue, rather. We're definitely past the starting stage. What did I want to do? I wanted to come in here. No, I didn't want to come in here. I wanted to come into Magic Link. There's a couple of things I want to do. So one of which is I want to rename. I don't like the name issue here. I want this to be order. I think that it's just as well to say that this get is a status, but maybe I'll just put status here as well. So I think that's how we do it. Is that how we do it? I'm not sure. But this is the status check. And then this is finalize. So, and then we have, it's kind of like a finalize part 2, but they are different enough that I kind of want them to be different. And I think that calling this exchange is fine. I think it makes sense, because here we are finalizing the verification process, and then down here we are exchanging our original challenge token for a token that represents the user. So I think that's a fine name. Let me see if there's anything else in here. Another thing that I want to do, which I like to do, is let's go ahead and do this. Let's say exchange token, exchange challenge token. I like to have my routes down at the bottom. We'll call this, and normally, I said this before, but normally I don't do the function expression stuff. I think it's stupid. You should just have your function be your function. But in this particular case, for readability's sake, I like the idea of having the name on the left just so I can look down. And I might reverse that decision later because, like I said, I think it's kind of dumb. Sometimes I try out new patterns of coding to kind of see how it feels. Like, for example, I tried out doing using the async routers return rather than res.json, and I was on the fence about that for about a week. I was going back and forth, and I've decided it's dumb because I've seen the way that other people interact with the code, and it's not as intuitive. The error handling is super intuitive. The res.json is not super intuitive. So I mean, the returning rather than res.json is not super intuitive, and it's like the difference of 0 characters, 2, you know, it's not worth it. Anyway, what was I going to call this one? Finalize verification. Might be an all right name for it. And finalize verification. Cool, cool. And then I'll save. And, you know, I don't actually have my editor set up with the proper indenting, and I've come to rely so much on prettier and code formatting tools that when I want everything to be indented right, yeah. But I guess what I could do in Vim, I could probably set it up so that different files have different rules. JavaScript, I like to have 2 spaces. Some other formats, I like to have a different number, I guess. So what is this? This is verification status. Check status, check verification status. Shorter might be better. Let check status equal. We'll do that. Go back down. Okay, and I just think that it's so much easier to kind of get a bird's eye view of what it is you're intending to do when you put your routes down at the bottom. I also am a fan of, I think Kent Dodds has coined a lot of terms, actually. Good terms too. Not just, you know, buzzwordy things that sound cool, but things that are actually truly meaningful, and I appreciate that about him. But I think he called it newspaper format, or headliner format or something like that, in which case you'd actually not do the lets here, but rather you would use the function name as the good Lord intended, and then you would put these things up at the top of the file rather down at the bottom. My convention has been to put them down at the bottom, so I'm just going to keep doing that for right now. But let's see, where have I got another app dot whatever? Oh, good. I've just got one left. All right, so I'm going to call this order verification. Oh, I don't know why I did that like that. Oh, and that's weird. Seriously? These helper functions come, this helper function comes before that does? It's probably just legacy of where it was before. Okay, order verification. Yep. Oh, cool. So now we can knock out that to do. Email verification challenges. I think that all of these are now email verification challenges. I should use JSDoc, and should is a loose term. I don't know that it's a moral imperative, but I think that it would benefit me. And I guess if it benefits me in a true fashion and not a false fashion, then it is a moral imperative, because you should do the things that are the best for yourself and others that don't cause harm. And so there's my moral philosophy for you. Also, I do have the chat open on the Twitch and the YouTube. I will try to keep an eye on that. So if you do have any questions, oh, hello, thanks for joining. If you do have any questions, feel free to plop them in there. Okay, so now I feel a little bit better about that in terms of I can come into the file and I can see what is essentially being done. Now, for the integration that I'm going to do, I talked about this earlier. I actually do need to replace all of this with API prefix and make it adjustable. So I think I'm going to go all the way up here for this one. And I'm going to make this optional in just a second, but for right now, just to kind of play with it and see if it looks right. I don't know if I want to call it API prefix, but it doesn't really matter because this is private anyway. But we're going to go ahead and just make it so that whoever is using this library has the option of changing some elements of what the API prefix is. And again, I'm going to have to test this to do test because I don't know if putting a question mark there is going to have the effect that I'm intending, which is to make it optional. You can have that there or you cannot have that there. Okay, maybe that was just a bot. They came for 2 minutes, thumbs up, and left. That probably happens. That's probably almost all of my likes. Sad day. Let's see. All right, so I got the API prefix in there. I kind of just, I wanted this to be really short, actually. Let's call it base. Because I just don't want, visually, I don't want this to get in the way of being able to quickly and easily read. And because it's something unusual. Because what you're expecting to see is post in a string. And so I want, for the purposes of scanning for somebody that is not me, I want it to be as familiar as possible, for them to, catch on very quickly. But still notice that there is a difference there. So let's say in this stuff that's going to come in, we're going to do app base equals, so no, base equals, we'll call it app base. And we'll just put an underscore. Oh, actually, I'm just going to call it route prefix. I think that's good enough. That's super descriptive. And then let's go ahead and move on. Oh, underscore. Cool. And I got some to-do. Let me just check what to-dos I have in here still. So there's a documentation to do. There's an IP address to do. I think I'm going to leave that for a little later because it's not critical right now. I might get to that. Consider built-in redirect. I do still want to consider that. I'm trying to think how that might work. Because if I do the built-in redirect, the URL that we want the user to see is probably not /API/whatever. So we'd probably want it to be really short and simple, like /reset or /login or something like that. So I think I might actually just provide a documentation example of how to do that and say that it is an API, but what you can do is you can put this route up above. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But essentially you can rewrite the URL and then next in a middleware. You can rewrite the URL and then call next and then have it fall into the middleware that's intended for, so you can have pretty URLs that, when the user sees it in their browser bar, it's not like /API, /authn, /challenge, /verify, I don't like that stuff. IP address should consider, yep, that's the same thing as before. Separate ID so we can track attempts. Yes, indeed. So we have moved over to that. I can get rid of that to do. That is now a to done. And yeah, I'm just going to remove that there. So now let's see. This is the sole reason for using an ID rather than just the secret, the challenge, and secret. Yeah. I mean, technically, I don't know if it makes a difference. I think it does. Only slightly. Because technically, you could just do random guesses across the board. And not be detectable. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. But I could always go back to ID not meaning anything and make the secret and the challenge, make the secret a little longer if I wanted to. But anyway, max attempts and timing. So you got, it's a balance. The trifecta is max attempts, timing, and entropy. And you find the balance between those three. And there's definitely a mathematical model that will tell you precisely what your security is for certain types of attacks or what type of cost it would be. I don't know what it is exactly. It's not super complex. I could probably figure it out. You just got to throw in a bunch of variables. How much compute power is in the world? How much does it cost on Amazon a given day? How much scale does your web server have? You know, you just plug in some numbers and you could come out with, here's how unlikely it is that this would be cracked. But I went over some of the rules of thumb in the last video, and I'll bring up this blog article again because now that I've done it, I actually really like it. How many bits of entropy in base 64 hex, etc. And I do have some notes here. So we have, this is how many characters, and then this is, I call it the multiplier. It's basically how long will a string be if you use this encoding, how much longer will it be to get the same number of... If you have 8 bytes, how many characters will it be in the given encoding? So if you have, well, bits rather. So yeah, and then bits per character. It goes through and says, this is how many bits per character you get in these different encodings. And then here is the bits by minimum number of characters. So this is not... in some places I need to put like a little squiggly or something because it's rounded, because it's like, okay, 19 bits is a target number of bits, 29 bits is a target number of bits, 96 bits is a target, 128 is a target. So some of these are defined by targets, where when you look across, it's the minimum number of characters, and other of these are defined in the reverse direction, where it's, here's the number of characters, how many bits is it? So anyway, I've got that in there. And then, you know, some explanation. 19 bits of entropy is common for TOTP, which is authenticator apps. I should put in parentheses there, authenticator apps. In fact, I think I will do that in just a moment once I finish what I was actually doing. Who knows what that was? Oh, I had that in my paste buffer still. So I'm going to go up, and what are we calling this? Route prefix? Did I just say root? I did not say root for route. I'm not that type of person. I don't come from those type of people. It is route. It is not root. Okay, actually, I do come from those type of people. That is probably how my grandma and grandpa would say it. Root. Route. Different. Maybe that's how I say it. But here, it's route. That's what it is. Okay. All right, so let's go back. We're going to go to session now. And I'm going to implement some of this prefix stuff. Okay, these ones down here, these ones are non-negotiable. These are standard locations. That's where the stuff has to go. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't come from those type of people, but I do like speaking that way. About, beg. Canadians are so cool. Everybody loves Canadians. And you can make fun of them, and they don't get all bent out of shape about it. You know, you can joke around with Canadians. And they're cool. They're not, you know, they're not going to be stuffy about it. Okay, anyway, so we have here our base. So we're just going to do base plus slash for this and for this. Again, I do have a to-do here. Oh, yeah. Is this needed to set cookies? Because if it's really, it's called cookie parser, but I believe it's needed for both parsing cookies and it's just serializing / signing cookies. But if it is not necessary for that, then I would say that this actually could go directly on the only route where the cookie parser is actually needed, which is somewhere here by cookie. Yeah, the refresh. So anyway, what am I doing here? I'm just doing base plus, and then there's probably a better way to do this actually. Let me go ahead and select all of this and do a replacement of /API/authn, and we'll replace that with base plus that. Yeah. And so a lot of people don't know this, but in Vim, when you're doing a search and replace, you can actually search and replace with any character as the, well, almost any character as the delimiter. So here I've chosen the @ sign because other things I might use as the delimiter, such as slash, which is what people often do, I'm already using. A lot of times I use, the colon. I don't know why I didn't use that this time. Probably because I was using @ earlier because I was matching strings that also had colons in them. And then this one, I think, yeah. And notice I put everything in the singular. That's neither good nor bad. That's just what I happened to do. All right, so that looks right now. And okay, this, I actually don't want this error handler here. I'm going to comment it out for now. I don't remember why I added this. I don't think that it is necessary. Yeah, I think I'm just going to straight up delete this. I'm going to check in the example code if there's an error handler there, because there should be. That's where the error handler is supposed to happen. Default error handler. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I just accidentally left that in there. And I told somebody who was asking me about 404 handling. I told him, no, I'm not doing any 404 handling in this thing. Well, that's the intention, but I accidentally did leave it in there. So, sorry, Ryan. Speaking of which, I just wanted to check and see if I got anything from him, because he is active on this project with me. Okay. So we do need to define the base here. Let's go back up to the top. Some of that stuff, like helper functions, look like they could probably move elsewhere. Let's see, is this all verify Google? So I could put this all in, well, not this one though. This one would have to go in something like cookies, and this would go in IOIDC. Thinking about moving them to other files just to keep this smaller and simpler and get some namespaces. Okay. So base is going to be equal to route prefix, or actually we're going to have to go like that. And then we're going to need a route prefix here. Not in love with that name, but makes sense, so just going to go with it. It'd be interesting to see how others are doing APIs like this, because some of this stuff, I don't really like the names that I'm using. Ish. You know, I actually, let me get back here. It's right there. I want to allow either of these to be used. ish equals if not ish. Ish equals issuer. Oh, bother. Now look what I've gone and done. One too many things. Okay. So this is all pretty good. Let's see what to-dos are in here. To-do. Now that basically has been solved by having what was called method 2 here. I have to think of the name that I actually want that to be because I don't like the name. I was calling method 2 because I didn't want to call it method because I want to be able to search for method 2 and find all occurrences of it. Same thing with the claims too. I just need to find a decent name for that, and it's just going to stick, and that's going to be v1. All right, eliminate process.env global vars. Have I done that? I would say so, other than this one. I think that's appropriate. I think that's widespread enough. I can get rid of that to-do. And let me see if there's any dead code. I'm going to switch real quick. Is there any dead code in here? Oh. Error. What the heck? Oh, I was looking in the wrong file. I'm like, this is not the right file. Because it's not the right file. All right. Ran secret, secret to ID. We're using that. Secrets match. ML is fresh. Which now I've got all those prefixes. I don't need them. All of those were being used. All of these are being used. And then we're down at the end, right? Cool. So no dead code in here. We've got local hosts, parse duration, E. I love calling my error thing E. So just in case you didn't see this before, this is how I do my errors. At least this is a pattern I've used several times now, and I like it. Let's see. I actually kind of like the idea of saying, here is the string. Let's go back into errors. And for developer error, I'm going to put message, and then there we go. There we are. Although, now that I think about it, I would prefer to do this. There we go. That's going to result in about the same thing. Oh, whoops. So this way, if message is empty, we're going to filter it out of the array, so when we join, we won't have a leading space. Like, That seems like friendly language that's non-technical. Oops. One of the programmers made a mistake. It's not your fault. I like that error message. That's a decent error message as a default. The magic link has not been clicked. Let's call this verification because magic link is almost a branded term. I think a number of companies are using it now, but I don't know who started using it because Medium does this, Slack does this, a couple other companies do it. But here's the thing. I really liked this early on because it solved a problem that is becoming less of a problem. So browsers have now integrated password managers. I think every major browser now has a password manager. And I think every major browser also now auto-suggests random passwords. And so the verification link was truly troublesome and obnoxious. Well, and still is in many places. So for example, you know, if I'm in an app, if I have to sign into an app on my phone and I have to figure out what my password is and I have to type it in, it's absolutely atrocious. So that's where I think this has the most benefits still, although even apps are starting to integrate the phone's password manager. So the problem that this was created to solve is going away because passwords I consider to be zero-factor authentication. Passwords are publicly available out on the web. You can take someone's email address, match it against a database, and get a list of their passwords, right? So I don't consider a password to be a form of authentication unless it is truly random and in a password manager. But there's other cases, you know, like there's the password reset that you would use this for, and the verification that the email is what it, you know, the person has access to the email address and so on and so forth. So the verification is still important. Okay, the verification links token. No. Has not been clicked yet. Can I put that in there? Is it going to wrap? Oh, it wraps. That's okay. It was wrapped before. Anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm just going to move on. And let's see. Anybody else in the Twitter tubes or the YouTubes? Okay. No. Alrighty. Yeah, so I need a different name for method 2. Okay, and we are going to go with status, not state. And I am going to do it a little bit more in the style of let's encrypt, but maybe that's more of a v2 thing. But I'm going to follow that more closely. Going up and down here. So development. Oh, okay, because we're in the magic link stuff here. All right, challenge max age, challenge max attempts, challenge, store, notify, age max secret, all that stuff. Let's bring this one up a level. So in the long list of things that are going to be in here, and this is kind of a code smell. When you get to a point where you got a long list here, it's kind of a code smell. It's kind of saying, maybe you're doing something a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. In this particular case, I'm going to argue, no, it's just got to be this complicated. Sorry. So I think what I'm going to put here is private key, maybe. I think that deserves to be thusly named rather than key pair to do private key. So I do want the key pair because I need the public part as well, but the public part is just derivative of the private part and all key pair strategies that I presently know of. Rel prefix, so this one doesn't have to be used. These two don't have to be used. This one is important. This one is a must. One of these. That is maybe a must. I could maybe make that optional. That is if they're going to be doing the verification links, that's a must. So the stuff is necessary and reasonably necessary, and some of it is optional, only if you're using that particular feature. So I could put this down with feature-based, optional, let's say required. I could maybe put store. Let's see, what is store doing? So currently store is feature-based. But I think that we'd actually need it. I think there's other things that we do realistically need it for. Just don't remember at the current moment. And this could be claims with claims.get. I don't know what other people are calling stuff like this that they have. But these ones, I almost feel like they should just be in a row. Bump, bump, bump. The stuff that's required, bump, bump, bump. Because then I don't have to name it either. I don't have to worry about, is this called private key or is it called key pair? It's just, it's what the function receives as the positional argument. And same thing, you know, with issuer, that would be really nice, actually. And there is a way that I could potentially, I gotta remember this, that I could derive issuer from the host name, but only if TLS is enabled and only if the TLS name matches the name in the header, because otherwise you get a potential security concern where somebody can forge a header and forge a token. Basically, they can set up their own website, mystupidwebsite.com. They could host their key on their own website, and then they could send a header to you that tells you that you are them, and then get your site to go fetch the key from their site to then authorize it. That can't be done if the TLS verification is enabled, but Node does not have that enabled by default. It does not check the TLS name against the header. And I filed an issue about this. There's not much to do about it with the way that Node is. And typically you have something in front of Node that's doing that. Like Caddy, for example, would be doing that check if you're using Caddy as your web server. And if you're using some sort of ancient web server, I think even the ancient web servers like Nginx and even Apache, I'm pretty sure Nginx has that check built in, and I think Apache would, but I would not use those web servers except for niche use cases. In general, I use a modern web server like Caddy. Okay, anyway, I got off on a tangent. I'm back now, and I'm focused on, what am I even focused on? I am focused on, this is the problem. I don't have a focus. I was looking for to-dos. All right. Skip verification of token because the cookie is already signed and verified. Okay, I'm rethinking that right now. That's a bad idea. I'm not going to do that. Well, it's not that it's a bad idea, but all right, paper cut, key pair versus private key. Let me just put paper cut in here. And then I'm going to put in here to do, because ish is common, but issuer is descriptive. And so that's why I'm thinking just plop it up here, and be done with it. Would it come before or after the secret? I think it would come before. So I'm going to call that one good and done. I'm going to go update this right now so that we have, what is it, session middleware. Let's get the notify is not that important. It definitely should not be taking up all this space. Let's get the issuer back up here. So there we are. Done. Where all does that issuer need to get used? A couple of places. Process.env.base URL or, and again, actually, I'm going to use my little trick that I learned the other day that I am now a fan of. I found a reason for template strings to exist. It's to prevent concatenation errors. In fact, I got a buddy that, the reason this came to mind is a buddy just wrote a blog article about the issues with concatenation or with string concatenation. And I want to let him know, I'm going to take a second to do this, because I want to let him know that I don't think he put this in his article, but I'm going to ask him to update his article and include this error. You should update your article to include this class of error, which is prevented with your strategy. And then I am going to show let base URL equal process.env.base URL or HTTPS localhost plus process.env.port. Instead of you should, I'll say idea or thought. There we go. I sent him a message. And I will go ahead and copy the article that I'm talking about into the chat Madhu right now. There we go. On both the Twitches and the YouTubes. So, there you have it. I'm going to be honest, I was actually making that pointing motion more for if anybody's scrolling through and then taking a look. Sometimes if you have animated gestures, people get their attention caught. Because, you know, it's a little lonely when you're live streaming, and some days you get 3 or 4 people. Some days you get 0 people. It's just, I like answering people's questions and having interaction and whatnot. Okay, so, all right, that to do is settled. The reduce boilerplate, that to do is not settled. Here we go. if there is no send email, and development is the environment, skipping email send. Good, I like that. Okay, but this notify function totally there we go. Should exist elsewhere. And I'm going to put it down below. Or maybe I won't. Let's see, middleware. I think I'll put it above. I will put it above. Let's see. Do we have any app.uses here? No. Okay, this is all the helper functions that are of the right type, it seems. So yeah, let's go ahead and move that there. Notify, notify, store. Okay, the store is something that I think let's go ahead and put this here. There we go. This, I think, really does belong. Can we get this to be any smaller? Because if not, then I think I'm just going to move this down here because I want my routes to be at the bottom. All right. Session middleware. Okay, and I guess I don't really need the base URL. Because I can just mount it at whatever base URL that I want. So let me go back. Let me go back into this. Let me look at Magic Link. What do I have base here for? Yeah, I don't need this. I don't know why I had that there. I wasn't thinking at the moment, or I was thinking incorrectly. Somebody's using the toaster. Get you every time. Hold on just 1 second. Let me see. I might need to open the door. Should I open the door? Should I open the door? Do you want a fan?
Yeah, just the door. It wasn't here in the...
Alright, well, let's... It's actually a nice day outside. It's a little rainy, so it's nice and cool. Alrighty. Okay, so what I had done just now, if I remember correctly, was I had realized, wait a minute, I don't need a base URL thing. That doesn't make any sense. And so I got rid of it. And now I'm coming back and being like, wait a minute, I don't need to pass in a base URL. And so I got rid of it. Oh, but I do. But I do. because of I need it for the path of the cookie defaults. Let me see if there's a way to get this out of Express. Okay, what would this be? Express mount. I don't know. I'm gonna go hit up the Utah.js Slack real quick, and I'll also hit up the Utah Node Slack, or not Slack, Discord as well. See, anybody know if you can get the mount point of an Express router app from within the router. Let's see, but that's not going to work anyway because it's already invoked. You know, I think I know what it is. I typed my question anyway. I remembered already, but I typed my question anyway because disseminate the knowledge. I think it is actually called, so where it is, original URL. So there's original URL, and then there's also base URL. Base URL. All right, there we go. Okay. That's tarded. There must be a use case for that, but I think for the sake of clarity, you should just do app.use twice. There's some conveniences that we just shouldn't take because they're stupid. That was one of them. I mean, somebody could argue with me and show me a real case for that, but I have a hard time believing it. Okay, so cookie defaults. We're going to undo this. And instead, let's see, where's cookie defaults used? It's in two places. Wait, hold on. Ah, of course. Sorry, I'm just sidetracked there by El Problemo. Okay, cookie defaults. So cookie defaults is being used inside of set auth and refresher. Okay, I believe in that. So cookie defaults dot path equals rec dot base. Is it base path, base URL? Base URL? Set auth. Oh no. Oh no. Ugh. Okay, now we've got a problem. Dang it. Now I have to go update in a bunch of places. Let me see what I can do here. Default. Was it default cookies? Default cookies. So I either, yeah, I guess that's the most ergonomic way to do it though, I think. Cookie defaults. Cookie defaults. So I need to put that in there somehow. Where else is this used? Logout. Cookie defaults. That actually is important there as well. So, oh, and it's not cookie defaults. Why did it? Okay. There's a way to do this. There is a way to do this. Okay, we're not going to put that there. I know what to do. API routes. Okay, we don't need any of this base stuff anymore. All of this can go away because that was just wrong thinking. But it was wrong thinking based on me remembering this problem. But now I remember this problem and I found an adequate solution. So none of that. Rec, res, and then this is small enough. I think it's okay to just squeeze it in here as a function.
Leave them alone.
Let's see. Okay, that looks right. So cookie defaults.path is equal to rec.base URL. And really, not that it matters, it just bugs me to think that something's going to get assigned all the time. Oh, you know what? Something else that we could do. I wonder if there's a way to remove a route from Express. I'm going to check that real quick. This is pedantic. But I'm going to check anyway. Express remove route. Yes, sweetie? What are you up to? You're going to fall if that fan tips over. You're going to fall. No. Okay, well then don't fall. Good. Hey, sweetie. Okay, if I'm route mapped as... Oh, router.stack. Sure, why not? This removes app.user. I don't know if that will work for this particular router. Let me check here. Now I got to check root async router. And let me look at the code and see, is this going to expose the same? I don't think it's going to expose the private bits. Okay, so we're taking a router. Route function app.route wrap router method equals wrap args wrap middleware. Let's see, wrap middleware wrap args fn.apply fn equals app.method. Okay, actually this should work because the way that it's wrapping the instance, I think it's going to work. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try this just for funsies. So we'll call this function setCookiePath. And okay, so this should have a reference to itself in here. So we should be able to do something like this. let's see. App dot router dot stack. This is using private variables. No, I'm not going to do it. We're going back. I'm just going to live with it like this. It's fine. I'd like to remove it. But what to do? Okay. So let's just put this as an example. What might this look like? This might look like API often. Okay. There we go. Now, let me go check and see if I've got often anywhere. Okay, I don't need that comment anymore. We don't need this base anymore. We don't need path anymore. Let's see, will be set by first middleware. Okay, so that's example. So let's just put EX here so that we're not confused that that was commented out code. That is actually documentation. Cool. So that, cool. All right. Now this is free, which means that in our app, now we can do API often, which means we want to get our middleware updated as well. You know, this is actually a lot of work. And that deserves peanut butter and apples. Sorry for those of you that have that auditory disease where when you hear people munching on something, creeps you out. I'm not the dude to watch. Ow. A little softer than I was expecting. Doesn't have the crunch that the satisfying crunch I was looking forward to. Okay, so I think this session middleware. Oh, this is well known. All right, right. Yeah, so that one, nothing we can do about it. And then the verification middleware. It's all good. Cool. So that's better now, I think. I call that a win. A lot of development stuff in here. So much boilerplate and garbage. What do you do? So these, all three of these are error handlers? Okay. Fair enough. Yep. Okay. So this is all looking good. I think now... Oh, what was my to-dos? I should have looked at that. Update browser code, update readme. Oh, you know, I still have to make a decision on what to call that method to. You know what? I know what to call it. Strategy. I love the word strategy. So let me do this. Method to strategy lib star.start. Let's use star.star.js. I think that'll be good. SD is like a modern sed, so you can do, whoops, webinstall.dev/sd if you want to get that. But you could do the same thing with sed. It's just SD is more intuitive. You don't have to remember a bunch of options, and it's cross-platform, so it'll work on Windows just as well. Oh, speaking of, actually not speaking of anything. Okay, cool. I just needed to check a couple of messages. I felt buzzes like 10 or 15 minutes ago, and you know, sometimes just need to check and make sure. I mean, I guess nothing's, if it's that important, they'll call, even if it's so. That's fine. I don't need to check messages. Sometimes I like to, though, just in case. But I have gotten a lot better about really not checking messages throughout the day. Just letting my phone. I mean, years ago, like probably 2 or 3 years ago, I turned off all notifications on my phone except for text messages. Maybe 1 or 2 other things, like bank charge notifications. I only get those when I actually run my card. And if I got one when I didn't run my card, it's because my wife is running my card or something's wrong. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm only checking, well, I'm not really strict about it yet, but I'm trying to only check my email twice a day. And only check my text messages. Basically have 2 times a day, 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., where I spend 30 minutes at both those times and just go through all the messages and see if there's anything important. And then I'm actually doing the inbox 0 thing now. Again, well, I'm not really doing it, but well, go through all the messages in my inbox and just archive everything that hasn't been important enough for me to actually get to and that nobody's bumped up as important again. Actually, emotionally feels better to not check messages so often. Anyway, what we're doing here. Okay, I got the base URL or this. That looks right. So we got a way to set that now. Strategy, cool. Yep, set strategy. And then claims 2. We need a good name for claims 2. That's the other thing we need. Let's see. Oh, okay, because I moved that stuff around, so it's going to be super noisy. Oh, you got your boots on?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Which color?
It's blue.
Are they blue boots?
Yes.
Let's see. Whoop. Oh yeah, it's those. I'd say those are pink boots with blue butterflies.
They're flowers.
Flowers, blue flowers. Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll just go out just here.
All right. Let's see. So going through, I'm just kind of taking a look at what all has changed. There's a ton of stuff. Got rid of some to-dos. That's great. So the next main thing that I need to get rid of is that claims to. I need to have a good name for it. Let me go take a look again. I think does it only happen? Let's see, claims to. No, it's all over the place. Okay. So what is this? It's not necessarily claims. So claims isn't a really great name for it. It is basically all of the things that are going to be passed through. So there's options that the library understands itself, which trust device is something I do need to add to this. Let's see. Yeah, I need to add that to where the cookies are being set. Cookie defaults, cookie. Okay, so here, auth in refresher. Okay, so I don't need this rec anymore. Oh gosh, where did I Hopefully I didn't change that in many places. Ah, I changed it here. I think it was just those two. Glad I saw that before that caused me grief. Although that one probably would have been pretty easy to figure out, maybe. Yeah, because when it went to call res.cookie, it should have failed on all claims. Okay. So grant tokens and cookie. Grant tokens and cookie. So under this all claims here, which is not even right. Or is it right? Rec by OIDC rec.body. Okay, I guess I can go there. But it needs to put the claims back. I need excuse me. I need on here if rec.body, I need to get all claims dot trust device equals rec.body dot trust device. That is something that I do need to be able to handle here wherever we're going into a cookie Madoo. Grant tokens. This should come before each of them. Okay, another reason that maybe I just do need to update all of the function signatures to have that in there, and instead of doing what I was doing with that route that's setting the cookie default path. Because if I'm going to need information from the body, strategy, yeah, with both of these, and then the other one is going to be the verification link. So it should be just in finalize, right? Oh, yeah, I need to get rid of that. That's debugging junk. That's probably in two places. Anyway. And this one, we're guaranteed to have a body, right? Yeah, we're guaranteed to have a body here, so we don't need to do an if check for a body. That other one, we're guaranteed to have an authorization header. We're not guaranteed to have a body. Well, I guess everything should have a body if it goes through the body middleware, because it should at least have an empty object. Oh, I see somebody came in, but I didn't see your message. Sorry. Are you still there? Nope. Interesting. All right, so we want to do this, and I probably have that in two places. And this to do can go away, because we do have a way to pass longevity of token. Whoops. It's kind of long. Okay, grant. Yep, and then same thing here. But I need to go back up here, and we need to get this too. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it feels kind of hokey to do it this way. I think that the function signature does need to be updated so that it has rec. I don't want to do that right now, and this is internal private, so it doesn't matter. Like it's not going to be exposed. I can make that change later. But I think in terms of the code maintainability, it's obvious to me that, yeah, that should be. Maybe I'll just make the change right now. It's like, make it now, make it later, right? What? Oh, come back. Oh, duh. Okay, so I'm convinced. Wait, which direction did I do it? All claims rec res. All claims rec res. Okay, not intuitive, but whatever. Well, it's like, this is the order that it needs to use them in. So we can go with that. Okay, in which case we don't need this anymore. Not there anyway. Grant tokens and cookie. All claims res. I love that little girl. I don't believe it's possible to be an adult without having children. I don't think that having children makes you an adult, but I think you're definitely not an adult until you have children. I'm fighting words for some people, I know, but got all these 17-year-old trapped in 40-year-old's body in San Francisco. I've seen it. I've been there. I know. But children are great, especially if you're married and you have a wife who is great with kids and takes care of almost everything, and you just get to be the dad that comes home from work or comes out of the office and gets to, have fun and not have all of the responsibility. Okay, I'm going to change the function signature of this. See, there I go, right after I say to be an adult you have to have kids, and then I'm like, if you have a wife that takes on the responsibility. No, you change for the better. All right, set auth in refresher. It's a cool experience when your point of view shifts from the thing that you want most in life is just for your kids to be better off than you are emotionally, financially, opportunity, all those things. It's like, well, I've lived my life. I've gotten to where I've gotten. I've still got places to go, but maybe I can help this kiddo in some small way skip some of the less important hardships and take advantage of some of the more important opportunities. And it starts at 2. Anyway. Well, it starts at birth, rather. Okay. Oh, I guess I didn't need to change that function signature. Let me take that back. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm going to grab this again, and then I'm going to move forward. And then I'm going to back up a little bit. There we go. And then put this right here. Right. Yeah, I guess it can go right here. That's fine. Cool. Because we want the trust device to be available to the set auth in refresher. That doesn't make any sense. Why in the world did I call it that? Let's give this a different name. Set auth in refresher. Let's call this just refresher. Refresh session. There we go. Better name. Okay, and so for claims 2, we still don't have a good name for this. And we need a good name for this. What? Come on. What's a good name for this? It's the stuff that gets passed through. Maybe options. I hate options, though. It's so generic. But that could be it. This is basically, these are opaque values, meaning I, as the person writing this library, I don't know what these values are, and I don't care. The person implementing this library, their front end is going to send signals that need to reach their back end. And this claims 2 is a way to do it. The reason I had originally called it claims and then renamed it claims 2 to distinguish it because it was different from the other claims, which has a more exact defined meaning, so that I could find and replace later. But the reason that I called it claims is essentially these are claims in the loose sense. We are claiming that the user's password is X. We are claiming that the username is Y. We are claiming that we should trust the device. Well, that one now I have decided actually does belong as part of the API. So we're making some claims, and it is up to the person implementing the library. Well, it is their opportunity to know something, know some hints. For example, what template should be used. Because the like I said before, the API for the verification, sending the verification code, verification link, whatever, the API for that is the same no matter whether it's forgot password or login or verify email. It's all the same API-wise. The question is, the front end wants to tell the back end of the library that where this is being implemented, where this library is being implemented. This, what I did was I clicked the forgot password button. So send the forgot password email with the code, so on and so forth. And so the question is what to call those details that are the user configurable details. I'm trying to think. I mean, I just don't want to call it options. It's so generic and non-descriptive, and it's not even, like, I don't know what they are. Opaque values almost sounds better. Okay. Ow. I was not right. That didn't hurt, but I got something in my teeth. Okay, I'm just going to sit and think on this for a minute. Give me a minute, just sit and think on it. Okay. I'm trying to think through other libraries that I've used if they have something like this. What is this thing called? I mean, I don't want to take all day making a decision on this, but it's good to pick names that are communicative and correct. And it's not as good to pick names that are the worst. The worst thing you could do is pick a name that's not correct or confusing. The next best is, I could just call it options if nothing else. And then the best would be descriptive and clear. Let me go take a look at where it's being used in the sample application. User 1. The user-defined signal. What is it? What is it on my monitor over here? It's got some name for user-defined presets. If I can find it. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Come on, go away. Is it here? User mode 1, user mode 2. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it user mode 1 and user mode 2. Kids are super loud outside right now. So it's only a garage door. So sound travels through it. I may insulate it when the winter comes. And that should protect against the sound as well. Winter's a long way off, though. Okay. I'm going to go look at Passport. See. Passport is a little bit too... It's a little bit too frameworky for me. And that it's a little too opinionated about its skeleton. I'm trying to keep what I'm building very thin. There's not as many functions that you have to fill out, hopefully. Browser ID, that's new. I'm not familiar with that one. I'll have to check that out. I wonder if it's the same as WebAuth. Or maybe it's browser fingerprinting. Let's see if there's something under examples. I'm kind of looking for a place where, well, I guess it would be local strategy. Username, password. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Passport.initialize, passport.session. Okay, I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I'm just going to take a minute because I'm curious about what this is. Okay, audience, fine. Browser ID JavaScript API. What? Oh gosh. So this, there was something, this sounds very similar to something that ooh. Okay. Yeah, gosh. Okay, so years ago, I thought, you know what we need? We need a browser API where the browser gives back an ID that represents a user because the user's logged into the browser through whatever means. Not because they're logged in just through Google sign-in, but you know, a company like Mozilla could do this where you sign into the browser somehow. The browser's keeping settings, sharing stuff like Brave and Mozilla have a private way to do this that's not, you know, publishing everything to the Google Cloud, but does some sort of device sync, which I assume is mostly local. Like the devices both have to be on and present in order for sync to happen. I don't think there is a cloud component for it. I could be wrong, other than maybe like a transport layer. But anyway, remote verification API. Oh, Persona's dead though. Remote verification. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see module based on specifications. Okay, yeah. So, okay, it's a dead project. Okay, all right. Browser ID is no more. Got it. It was probably based on Mozilla's Persona, or there's also WebAuthn. Anyway, these are kind of aside the point. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked, but getting a little bit of like sidetracked on things that are related is beneficial. You know, you learn a little bit if you. Well, I mean, for myself, I'm not too focused. I think if you're too focused, then you miss out on opportunities to expand your knowledge. I think I used locomotive once. Anyway, what I was looking for here was some way, because this abstracts away everything. This just takes you too far away from this. Like, there's no. Yeah, I'm not. I need to see the API docs. Where's the API docs? Entirely enterprise ready, express compatible. Where's the API docs? I don't want the README. I want. Oh, is that on this page? Maybe that's this page. Documentation. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is all like really old school stuff too. I think this is all like cookie based, user password based. I mean, obviously it's got OIDC in here too. But yeah. Although this page out of this book, it looks simple when you look at it. Got to give them that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this just looks. It's like too much is hidden away. And the reason I'm looking at this is to see what can I find a name for my claims, because I was thinking there's probably some example here where it would show return URL. Huh. Don't remember that one. Custom options for something. But really, it doesn't seem like it does. It's just username and password. That's it. There's no place for defining. I mean, not that I'm seeing any of this. Let me go down to APIs. There's no place for defining more. New basic strategy. Username, password, done. Like, no access to the rec object. No. Is there something for doing custom stuff? Just like it's baked in. I mean, I guess, okay. So there. I need passing in options. I might have to consider this further in the future, because there might be something that I can glean from this in terms of how the session is being set up. Like, it's not being embedded, so you don't have to pass in the cookie secret. Like, it has fewer options, which is good. Well, good, not necessarily that it's good or not good, but is appealing to many people. Anonymous specification. There should be an RFC for that. No authentication. Okay. Local API key. rec.logout. Yeah, I'm trying to put that on the browser side, which I guess it doesn't matter anymore because it's all redirects anyway. So I guess maybe I could just as well. No, I think there's some options that I want to. No, there's some options that I want to be able. I want to be able to have that, you know, trust device or not type of situation. Yeah, it does look pretty. It looks so simple. Okay, let me go look at mine now. I'm off on another tangent here, but okay. So what all do you have to set up here? Okay. So you've got your built-ins. Do we actually need crypto though? Okay, we don't need crypto here. I'm just going to move this for the time being because we only need crypto for that. I'm just trying to see if I can reduce the complexity of this. And then we'll see. So HTTP Express app. Standard. Body parser, Morgan, standard. Authorization. Okay, what are we using request for? For sending. Okay. So let's put that down in notify. All right, and that's not going to cause any problems. Okay. All right, and Passport doesn't, as far as I'm aware, Passport does not have a login via email strategy or password restart strategy. Could be wrong. Probably I am wrong. It seems like that's got to be there, but wasn't in any of the examples. It seems like that'd be common enough that it would be. Okay. R&D. What do we need R&D for? Okay. R&D is special for this. So let's just move it in here. All right. Authorization. This is just a good way to go about authorization, but it's not necessary in general. All right, DB. Is that just for get claims? Okay, so got that out of the way. And, you know, to be fair, in the examples, a lot of the boilerplate is skipped over there. All right. So issuer needs to be set. Let's move this body parser down here. Okay. Just trying to think, how could I make an example look more simple? We could get Morgan can go here. You only need it if you're doing development logging. Well, you might want it for lots of logging. Verify JWT. Okay, do you need key pairs? I don't think you need key pairs. That certainly, for an example, this could be trimmed down because it could just be await parse. So where else is that needed? Private key. Is it needed anywhere else? No. So let's reduce this down. Okay. So we've got that there. And really, let's see, where am I using this? Key pair. Oh, I'm not even using it. So I can reduce that down, but session middleware, it should be here. Key pair. So I kind of want to put it right here. We got the HMAC secret and we've got the private key. Just put all that stuff in line, and these are more optional-esque. And there's also, you know, there's ways to break this up as well. So you can require it, invoke it, or call new. Ugh, don't do new. Do .create. And then add additional options like do .get claims equals or something. Like the way they do it is a, was it a callback function over here? Which I don't think that that's as applicable in the day and age, yeah, of promises and async await. But it does have a nice way of breaking it up. Gonna have to consider that. So now I'm more into the API design bit here when I wasn't originally intending to be. Let's see. Get claims. Let me just pull this up out over here. All right, and there's more stuff here than what needs to be here. Yeah, I think I could shrink this example down a bit. Okay, I'll worry about that later. But I think it would be good to have a smaller example that is simpler for people to read. I don't think that would be a bad thing at all. Okay, we have the E and V equals. E and V equals. Okay, I really don't think that that should come out here. I should instead say what is changing. Let's see if Google client ID allowing expired Google JWT. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. That's good to print out. Okay, so back to this question of what do I call claims to? Since I don't have anything better, I've taken some time away from it to think. I think that I am just going to go with options for now. Or extra, or adders, or body. Maybe I'll just call it body. Or data. I think I'll just call it body. SD claims to body. All right, that's it. It's done. Oh, crap. Oh, I should have stashed before that. There's other places where I'm using body. Okay, let's see if I've got any body equals. Let me find that real quick. Body equals. Yes, see. Let body equal body. Body. Okay, that's the place where I'm using it. And it is okay. And then there's another place where I was using request. Where was that at? Request. I think in other places I've called that auth request. Yeah, request.body makes sense, right? I think that's actually fair. I think that worked out well. I think that ended up being a good name. Kit claims. In fact, maybe it should be request. Now I'm thinking on it. I'm thinking on it. It should definitely include headers if it's going to be a request. I think that's fair. Get claims. I don't know that I want to pollute the request object with all of this stuff here. Plus, I think some of it might not be quite right. Whoops, headers. Okay, I think that's actually fair. You know, I'm having a change of heart. I'm thinking that maybe this should just be sending the request and having some sort of like rec.auth, rec.auth.strategy, rec.auth.email. I think that's all right. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, here we go. Get claims. Well, first let's start up at the uppest level, at the uppest. So let's just call this rec. And then let's say we're going to have rec.auth. Rec.body. Okay, I like this. So I'm glad I went on that little tangent now. Because it gave me some time to think and to like review what somebody else had done. And I think that it's a net positive. And it solves another problem. You know, one of the things I was complaining about this is there's no access to the rec object. You know, I want to be able to look at things, want to be able to examine for myself. You know, this actually simplifies the API a bit. And then maybe notify should be the same. Maybe notify should get rec. And it should just be, yeah, I'm going to talk with my buddy about this. But I think this is the right decision. I'm going to see if he's available in a little bit. Oh, I think he's off at some other work thing. I think he told me. But yeah, this is something where I'd like to review it with someone to kind of, you know, hey, does this feel right? Yeah, I mean, I'll hit up somebody in the Slacks. Let's see if any of my buddies are online to do a code review. Actually, let's see how he's online. I'm gonna check. Okay, he's online. Yeah, I got like 3 people that are online I'm gonna tag. So what I'm gonna do when it comes to the break, Well, actually, I think I'll tag him right now. Hey, do you have some time you could do a code review with me? I'm making some API choices and just want another set of eyes for critical feedback on the understandability / ergonomics. I'm going to say maybe in 30 minutes or so. Actually, I'm going to put half an hour because if somebody's just scanning and they see 30 minutes, they might think, oh, I don't have 30 minutes. So if I say in half an hour, scanning, and then I'm just going to ask 3 people. And let's see. And then maybe I get 1 response out of the 3 people. Let's see. Actually, I don't remember talking with this guy. But I'm going to message him too. So I'm actually going to message 4 people here. And then while I'm doing the rest of this, maybe one of them gets back to me or 2 of them get back to me, and I just pick one, and that's that. So, boom. Okay. I sent out my couple of messages. And I'm just going to star these people real quick because they should be starred because they're people that I enjoy chatting with. Oh, actually, oh, there's one other person I'll message. Actually, there is yet one more. Okay. And it actually wouldn't hurt, you know, maybe I get a couple of these people. And you know, if I get a couple of eyes to review this, all the better. Okay, but I think this is starting to feel right. Okay, so this is just going to be rec as well, and then we're going to do let. Oh, and then, you know, it's going to be a little bit, I'll probably take up to that time period anyway. Rec.auth. So here we don't need it to be claims. It's not called claims anymore, right? So it's going to be rec.body. Rec.body. So it looks like I missed a spot where I renamed things to claim to. But again, it's one of the reasons I don't like to, I know that I shouldn't, and I try to avoid it when I recognize it, using a similarly named variable for things that are not similar enough in nature. Because then you got to go through and like, wait, which one was this? Was I talking about this thing or was I talking about this thing? They're different things. Okay. Oh, and I got a hit. Do we have time if we get started right away? Okay. I'm going to tell him let's see, give me 5. All right, so I might try to wrap this up a little bit earlier. I'll ask him if it's okay to live stream the code review, and if it is, then I'll live stream it. But let me go ahead and just try to get prepared for this. So git claims. All right, this is not just going to be ops, this is going to be rec. Okay, that looks about right. And then let's do rec.auth equals. I'll do all of that there. Get rid of these two. And then move that over. I think that feels right. And then, of course, I should make it so that rec.auth is configurable. So let me go up here, actually. I'm going to go ahead and make that right now. Auth param, maybe? So if not auth param equals auth. Cool. I don't know. Auth prop might be more appropriate. Okay, get claims. All right, same thing here as above. Rec auth param equals, and then this needs a name. What should it be? We did that, and that should have been labeled as to do, but whatever. Boom. Okay. Auth param equals. Okay, get claims. Rec auth param. Oh, and then it looks like there's a couple spots I missed here anyway. Yep, that should have been one of those auth2 things, but wasn't. So it's good to walk through it. Okay. And this, I definitely would prefer this to be in this style, if it will allow me to do it. See what Prettier thinks. Nope. Okay, well, Prettier wins. It seems like sometimes it lets me do that. I don't know the difference between when it does let me to do it and when it doesn't let me to do it. Do it? To do it? Do it? Alrighty. Let's, oh no, again, rec auth param. Okay, auth param is going to need to be passed through here. And then we don't need that. So let's go back up top here and do auth param. And then we don't need route prefix anymore, right? Yeah, we don't need that one. We can get rid of that one. I don't think we need key pair anymore. Nope, we don't need that one. We still need, do we need verified JWT? I think we do need that one. No, we don't need that one. We just need grant tokens. Cool. I love making the surface area of the API smaller. That's always good. What was this? Magic link. Okay. Get claims, verify JWT. That one we don't need anymore. So we've got auth param. Should be auth param. So we need that one. Okay. And then again, rec, auth param. I think this is coming together quite nicely. Alrighty. Oh. I think those are only 2 places where this was. Cool. Everything looks good here. I'm going to stop for a second and just do an add. Okay. Oh. How do you want to connect? Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna have to sign off in just a second. Let's look for any more instances of Git claims that may have not been converted. Looks like everything was converted. So I'm gonna stop here for a second. Oh, I just did. Add everything to my Git cache. I'm actually gonna do a little whip commit, I think. Whip refactor continued squash me. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hop off. If this was useful for you at all, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to more of the live stuff, down in the doobly-doo, you can find the links to this channel, the Beyond Code channel, all the thingies, the Twitters and the Twitches and all that. So, with that said, I'm going to peace out. I'll do the code review live if I can. If not, we'll do a Git diff afterwards. But I will see you later. Adios. Of course. Of course. Why would my hotkey work? Why would it work?